gonna do? Huh? You gonna shoot me in front of everybody? Huh? I'ma take your head and spit. You thought I was dope, but I'm back in the heart. And you know what the fuck up, this thing that I'm out here. I'm slapped with the 40 on these two for my protection. I gotta stay strapped cause these niggas stay flexing. Jealous cause I'm making it, don't know why you hate it. Born and raised in the South, so you know that I'm real. It's all about the money, nigga. I gotta pick out my side, staying on my hustle while you sucker stuff, fantasize. Scheming, clean them in cause you know that I'm savage. People watch this from my let you niggas be rewinding. You won't be top for just what you want to do. I'm sitting here gonna take care of niggas like you. You won't be top for just what you want to do. I'm sitting here gonna take care of niggas like you. You won't be top for just what you wanna do. With this young nigga, with that attitude. But about that money, man, you don't wanna take me, man. Fucking with this deal.
Chrono Stampede in this bitch.
Was I'm thinking, on reckless niggas, crack on the phone, bitch. Gotta keep our hustle low, keep my big phone slow. If I got it, I got it, cause I'm nigga with the flow. Pushing my full rock when I'm standing out, kicking it. Blazing so much dope, that's why my soul is so weak. From hands to bitch, niggas, bitch. Big off where I'm from, it ain't no number, bitch. Tell, can't you tell, but some niggas like you. These niggas speaking, so I keep it from the rest of my crew. Got the 9 automatic with the 30 round clip. For all you other MCs running off at the lip, it's a trip. Your grip, I rip. See the brain to the maze on how I stack my grip. Don't slip, only focus just with the paper all the way down to the bank. I'm about for dozen trying to get a fucking rank. It is game, it's the same. See, I don't fuck with lemon lanes. You fuck the vibe, they get to see why they call us the game. See the twins and the wind, and I'm back again. You back and told you down the place to see it ain't no breeze. You gon' be top for just what you want to do. I'm sitting here gonna take care of niggas like you. You gon' be top for just what you want to do. I'm sitting here gonna take care of niggas like you.
We'll be getting started in about 5 minutes, folks. Welcome, Chrono Stampede, here early. Stupor Tuesday.
Cool it with the anti. Cool it with the anti-Semitic.
Shut the fuck up! Oh my God, who the hell cares? Shut your fucking mouth! Shut the fuck up, you cunt!
Oh my God. Thank you so much, Ice King of Space. Welcome back, Ice King and Kronos. I heard sound effects before. Wow, I was muted that whole time. Holy smoking nuts. Holy shit. I'm so sorry. Yes, I was readjusting. I was explaining to everybody what I was doing while I was doing it. I've readjusted my audio settings and stuff, so I was readjusting my soundboard. Yeah, that was weird and kind of cool. Like a noise show. A really bad one. Some guy with a soundboard. Doink! Cartoon noises. Boink, doink, boink. No, you're muted now. You weren't muted. What? You can hear me now. I can see that you can hear me. All right, so we got Super Tuesday bullshit. Let's see if we can't get any. No. Davey fucking gaslighting me. Yeah, well, turn up your volume then. Yeah, busted. I've been watching Peaky Blinders clips on YouTube. Leave me alone. I love how they're all Sigma male shit. Bo. He'll say like, he'll say some of the most. He'll just say some shit, and it's like it's the most Sigma thing ever. Oh, Sigma males jerking their gherkin to fucking Peaky Blinders. Oh yeah. Super Tuesday. It's a good show. It's a little dramatic. It's a little okay, you know, it's a little dramatic, but I guess that is the point. I get it. Voters roll in. According to this silver-haired fella on Fox, Trump expected to win big on Super Tuesday. Yeah, I mean, I debated even doing this. You know, literally nothing. There's no mystery here. There's nothing. None of that. There's no question about what's going to be happening here. No fighting. Punches somebody. Yeah. Okay. What do we expect? I don't know. Do we want to hear it from Fox? No. Here we go. Nikki Haley's last stand. Yes, let's keep pretending. Poor Nina. Oh, she's doing this stupid pretend the horse race is relevant crap. Sorry, let me get this bigger so you can actually see it. Hey, Kristen Sinema announces she retired from the Senate. Hey now. Okay, well CNN has a live. Okay, we'll do fine. We'll do CNN. Let's see here. What is it? What is that channel that I go to? Big time illegal, but I don't give a rip. I mean, I do give a rip. Free Inter TV. Yeah, here it is. It's almost as if the political process has been compromised decades ago, and keep watching this shit show. I mean, it. You know, those statements used to be kind of hyperbolic in the past, right? Because there used to be like, oh, this process is rigged or this process is a farce, and it's like, well, it's messy and it's not perfect, but it farce. I don't know about farce, right? But now I feel pretty confident saying that, I mean, there is no mystery about Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Kristen Sinema to leave sentiment and cash in a lobbying contract. You know that's what's going on. The big room. Oh my God. Folks, we got a big room in the room. Taking up a lot of room. This big room. I got a big room. And can I put anything in this big room, or is it just a big empty room? I got some stuff. I need a little space. Can I put something in here? No? You're one of those guys. We just got to have a big empty room just sitting around here. I'm trying to find one that's actually covering Super Tuesday. Everyone's talking about Kristen Sinema. This is so funny. You're like, what? The election that literally is in a two-way. It can be predicted. I got all kinds of room. Hit me up. Oh my God. The back rooms has entered the chat.
Who cuts a higher profile in Arizona, but not nationally, running for the Democratic nomination. A two-way race in that state in this cycle expected to be particularly close. But it also underscores something, Nancy, how much the margin for error.
Okay, here, let's not get myself in trouble too early, just like straight up streaming. This is Haiti. Live TV. Are we doing the
And this is how rich crews should.
No. Oh, okay. They're doing it satirically. Okay, all right. I was like, oh my God, are they using the millennial ukulele talking about destabilizing how destabilized Haiti is? Are we serious right now? All right, let's watch this pre-recorded clip here from CNN about Kristen Sinema says she will not run for re-election. Thank Buddha. Thank you, Zeus. Thank you, Mega Man. I would like everyone to bow their head. Where is it? Bow your head. Bow your head for Mega Man and his Buster. Treble and bass, they can't stand a chance. Mega Man, the true GOAT. Globalize my agenda. Praise be to Mega Man. I love that game.
We have some breaking news. Independent Senator Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona says that she is not running for re-election. She says she's going to be leaving the Senate at the end of the year. Let's get straight now to CNN Chief Congressional Correspondent Manu Raju on Capitol Hill. Manu, get us up to speed here.
Turning up the volume.
Yeah, this is very significant. Of course, Kyrsten Sinema has been a key player in the Senate for several years now.
It's almost like when you leverage your political power, you can actually get a lot of shit done, regardless of what your agenda is. Isn't that something? Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy?
Center of a number of negotiations here in the Senate. Someone who's actually gotten a lot of pushback, anger from the left flank of her party, ultimately drove her from the Democratic Party, became an independent senator, caucusing with the Democrats. But there's been a key question about the Senate race this year, the Senate map, about what Kyrsten Sinema would do in this critical swing seat of Arizona. She just announced she is going to step aside, will not run for re-election in November, which will change the dynamics in that very critical Senate race in Arizona. She just put out a lengthy statement explaining her decision to step aside. She talked about the need to work together, how the need for civility and for compromise. She said that she laments the fact that, in her words, compromise is a dirty road. She said we have arrived at a crossroad and we choose anger and division. And ultimately, she says that it's time for her to step aside. This will change how this Senate race could eventually turn out. If she were to run, it would be uncertain whether she would pull support from the Democratic side or the Republican side. There's a Republican candidate who is running in that race, Carrie Lake, the former gubernatorial candidate. There's a Democratic candidate, also Ruben Gallego. He's a Democratic candidate as well. I just talked to Steve Daines, who's the chairman of the Senate GOP campaign committee. He told me that he believes that Sinema's decision to step aside will ultimately boost Carrie Lake's chance in this pivotal race. But there's not only does have an impact on the map here, Brianna, but also on the Senate as well. Several of these deal maker types, Joe Manchin, Kyrsten Sinema, Mitt Romney, all saying that they will not run for re-election. That will ultimately change the makeup of the Senate, whether they can cut deals and have implications too for the next president. Brianna.
Yeah, huge development here with Kyrsten Sinema saying she'll be leaving the Senate at the end of this year. Manu Raju, live for us on the Hill. Thank you.
Joining us now from Washington, D.C. So let's go ahead and fill another 5 minutes talking about the effectiveness of Kyrsten Sinema, because let's be real, she was effective. She was effective. Cinema instead of cinema. I mean, what are we talking about? It's the English language. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Ice King of Space. Why do you keep trying to make the English language make any sense? Looked it up. Bitch, no, I'm a video game historian. Rockman is the original Japanese name for Mega Man.
He is co-author of the Washington Post Early 202. Leanne Caldwell. Leanne, thank you very much for joining us. Let me ask you first, if I may, on the news just coming in to CNN to us from on Senator Kristen Sinema announcing she's retiring. She said, because I choose civility, understanding, listening, working together to get stuff done, I will leave the Senate at the end of this year.
That is the exact opposite of Kristen Sinema. I mean, these people are so shameless. Listen to that. If you've been following politics, does that describe, and someone just walked up to you and said, describe Kristen Sinema. I'm sorry, no, this wouldn't be described. She's, you know, it's the exact opposite. She's divisive. She was, you know, she was a thorn in the side of her own party.
Listening, working together to get stuff done. I will leave the Senate at the end of this year. How do you interpret those words?
Yeah,
why
big
now?
Room, yeah, the big thumbs down in her fucking
So
goofy dress.
Senator Sinema has been central to most bipartisan legislation that's been passed or that even failed in Congress
but
over
she's
the past
been
several
effective
years.
To her corporate
but
masters.
the reason she's leaving Congress now is because she doesn't have a path to re-election.
That's right. Because she lied to her fucking constituents. That's why. Right? That's why people don't want to vote for her again. She pretended she was a progressive. You know, she wanted to do this other way, which was basically just more centrism, right? With just a little less fascism. Little less, oh, we don't like the Trump fascism, but we sure do love the corporatism, but we don't like the slow corporatism of the neoliberals, which isn't even that slow. Right? The Bloomberg idiots wanted a third way.
She became an independent, which means that she does not have the support of the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. She has a challenger in Democratic. A Democratic congressman is challenging her, and he did that after Democrats became furious with
I think Manchin's smarter than Sinema, quite frankly. He's more craven. He seems to play this much smoother, much cooler. Sinema, you know, she tried to do everything and like in her, you know, she tried to flip and do all this, like, you know, and it's just way too quick. Manchin's so slick, man. Have you seen interviews with Manchin lately? He sounds so stately and he sounds so, you know, moderate and in the middle. Meanwhile, he's a corporate extremist.
Kristen Sinema for failing to get behind Democrats to change Senate rules. It sounds very wonky, but this is something that Democrats really wanted, and it led to a challenge from her left.
Okay, hold on.
And so now that there's a challenge from her left,
people are still voting
from the Republican Party on her right, and really there's no path for Kristen Sinema to create a coalition of voters in Arizona to win re-election in 2024.
No, they have not.
I appreciate you breaking it all down for us, of course, as we just had this breaking news come in the last few moments.
Yeah, is she at like the gym? Where is she?
I wonder if I can turn, though, to Super Tuesday that we've been covering at the top of the show, because, of course, we have, and our viewers, international viewers will know this, a large sample, of course, of US voting today. And I think we could get some answers, hopefully, today. I wonder what states you will be looking at closely and why. What should we be looking out for here?
So there's 15 states and one territory, America Samoa,
catch Manchin on his yacht.
Have voters heading to the polls today. And like you said in your lead, today's voters will deliver 1/3 of the necessary delegates for the nominee to clinch the nomination. Donald Trump has already secured most of the delegates, and his path looks very strong today. If Nikki Haley, she always says that she wants to improve on previous performances,
it was always
but it's becoming much more difficult for her.
Didn't Hillary Clinton, when in 2016, allude to Bernie, or what was it? She was saying, someone was saying something about someone dying. They were talking about, there's all kinds of contingencies. I really, truly believe that Nikki Haley was is just, crossing her fingers that, maybe the justice system won't, bend to him and will actually arrest him. It's so funny that the justice system that she's so, willfully and gladly corrupted has actually smacked her in the face a little bit, because if our justice system was working properly and had arrested Donald Trump, stricken him from the ballot for attempting an insurrection, that's legally, state Supreme Courts have said, yes, Donald J. Trump attempted insurrection. Man, it's just...
States are more numerous, they're closer together, and it's hard to campaign. And I'm going to be looking at states of Virginia and Vermont,
pictures,
two states that she could perhaps do well there. But the reality is that Nikki Haley has had a phenomenal last 2 months of fundraising. $28 million.
Oh my God, we're not talking about Nikki fucking Haley's fucking fundraising numbers, dog. She's doing this boogaloo, right? Because she's been asked, oh, are you gonna, pardon Trump? Oh yeah, I'll pardon Trump. Are you gonna vote for Trump if he's the nominee? Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, ultimately, I would support whatever the Republican nominee is. Hold on, double checking. Okay. No, people are still voting. Hold on, double checking. I got a source. Are they voting? Wake up. Hello? Yeah, hey. Yeah, $50 an hour. Wake up. Are they voting? I got video. I need confirmation. This is real journalism. It's costing me a lot of fucking money, dude. What do you mean you're not there yet? Okay, hold on. All right, he's gonna get there. Okay, we're just starting. All right, okay. Yeah, hang up the phone, idiot. All right, they're still voting, but we're gonna have confirmation there soon. Okay, someone's on their way. We're gonna confirm that they are still voting. It's so hard to not bring up Hitler parallels in a suit. Well, I mean, only honestly, if you know the rise of Hitler and Trump, they're very different. This is a very different situation. It really, it just, but there are some parallels. It's interesting, just like just the nature of dictators. The narcissism, the obsessive nature. That they drive forward with, whatever their goals are. And in Trump's case, the goals are inward. It's so interesting. I've never seen a character so driven by ego like Trump. He's fueled by it. He's like a final boss where, he's absorbing all your weapons. All bounces off him. But just like all fascist movements, he is inadvertently doing exactly what fascist movements have done in the past, which is take advantage of loopholes in democracy. Right? Banger content. It's going on. It's going down. It's going down. Stupor Tuesday. Oh, yeah. There's a big mystery about what's happening today. Now, I do see a lot of the lefty commentators, Breaking Room, Kyle Kulinski, Status Coup, and I'm sure many other small timers, criticizing. Turn that down just a bit for you there. Criticizing the Democrats for their anti-democratic Stupor Tuesday. It's a big election day in the United States. Hold on. I don't need an update that you're on the fucking bus, dude. Get your ass over there. Jesus, I'm not paying you, okay? This is not a fucking charity. All right, hang up the fucking phone, jackass. Okay. Okay, we're going to get confirmation that voting is happening, but of course we got these, we can't really trust what we're seeing right now. This is just a live stream from the Associated Press. Who cares? Right, fucking, the last newspaper in existence, I guess. What happens when the AP is bought up by a Murdoch? You know, is bought up by one of like a Mark Zuckerberg. I bet the AP is already owned by sketchy motherfuckers. But do you know how much the AP is the backbone of actual informative news across the world? It's unbelievable. Anyway, what the fuck were we talking about? No, the Hitler stuff. Yeah. No, there's so many parallels to be made there, but they're inadvertent in Trump's case, and his rise is so bizarre. And it like I said before, I've said this before, like MAGA. Well, I guess I was making this comparison with COVID. How like COVID is a black light that shows all of the weaknesses in our systems that would protect us, right? All these systems that were supposed to kick in and help us, you know, and now we're seeing this counter narrative, you know, these systems that did kick in, that did save lives, and now we're seeing this counter narrative from lefties, by the way. We're seeing this counter narrative about how, the vaccine wasn't necessary, and it's a lot of overkill, and it was a big assault on our rights, even though it was all reversed. So how COVID was a big black light on those systems that were supposed to protect us. MAGA, the fascist MAGA movement, is a black light on our democracy, exposing all of its weaknesses. Right? MAGA, and Trump, it's so funny because Trump is just trying to protect himself. So he's using whatever he can possibly use to shield himself shamelessly. There is no shame. Whatever card he has to pull, whatever works. If he was Native American, he'd be like pulling the Native, you know what I'm saying? If he was black, he'd be pulling the black card. He'd be pulling any card he's got. And he is inadvertently exposing the inherent weaknesses in our democracy. Vaccine was absolutely necessary, at least for a majority of people. It saved so many lives. You know, and my rights. I had to wear a mask. Oh, boo, fucking who, dude? I don't fucking. Come on. Oh, it was so hard. Oh. You got Sagar Enginetti over here saying wearing a mask and having to, lose a couple, like a year of school is more traumatic than gun violence. Look it up. He said it before their new set over there at Breaking Points. Had a big debate. It was after one of the big massacres happened at a school. Crystal pleading with Sagar. So do you change? Actually, no, I double down, says Sagar. Then he decided that was a good opportunity to bring up the traumatic events of not of the virus, not of COVID, but of the preventative measures taken to protect the kids, and how that was more traumatic than gun violence against them. Look it up, man. From like 2 years ago. Did I turn that shit or I unsubscribed? Like, what the fuck is this trash? And Crystal over here, Crystal Ball, still taking his ass seriously. He's a charlatan. And you know Sagar Enginetti is going to be voting for motherfucking Trump. Yep. After everything, after all of it, I still support fascism. Because, one reason why people like Sagar is that sometimes he'll criticize. That motherfucker's gonna belly right up and pull that lever for fascism, baby. You know he is. I'm sick and tired of the charlatans. Hold on. No. Okay. There's someone trying to sell me boner pills. Guys, Joe Rogan is a right-winger. Joe Rogan, I guess, has entered into the final stages of his right-wing conversion and is now interviewing the regular stable of right-wing idiots, including, Yeah, one time he said he supported Bernie, so go ahead and ignore the last 3 years, at least. But now he's interviewing hacks like Kid Rock.
Shut the fuck up.
With a ba. Tickles me when Rogan gets a zillion listener per day podcasts and whines about being canceled. You know, his speech is being challenged. I like how authoritarian supporters are always making surprise Pikachu face when the government starts taking away their rights. It's always too late, though. It's always too late. And they come to the revelation, you know, like, oh, it's some kind of brilliant revelation to them. No, but listen to this, dude. This is what happens when you're in way the fuck over your head. Watch this. Oh, by the way, big props to the Rational National.
I'm a peaceful man.
Right, but you're not supposed to pick civilian targets. That's actually a
you
war
can't
crime.
fight war like that. When
but you're not supposed
they're
to
hiding
pick
in
civilian
targets.
Self-described musician and peaceful man, Kid Rock, was on Joe Rogan's show for a in-depth discussion on Israel and Gaza. Because
I really feel like a pampered millionaire who has literally never seen a single day of combat. You know, I don't really want to respect his opinion on the necessity of civilian casualties. You know what I mean? It seems like you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You know, you're making wild assumptions here. That's just my vibe right off the bat.
I want to hear about foreign policy. I go to Kid Rock and Joe Rogan.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, I'm going to get to a couple of clips here. Joe Rogan, to his credit.
Kem Goblin, Joe Rogan is one of the most he's basically the new Rush Limbaugh. He has millions and millions of listeners and is probably one of the strongest reasons why we have a very strong and vocal anti-vaccine movement. We can definitely blame Joe Rogan for his vocal support. And continued doubling down, tripling down of his support of vaccine skepticism. So we can thank him for that. But no, he's a very dangerous right-wing thought leader. And we need to understand how he thinks so we can understand how to defeat him.
Does push back a little bit, though I think he could have done a little bit of a better job considering he's had on people like Abby Martin before who has really gone deep on this topic and
Kid Rock is a right-wing celebrity.
Though, if you've ever watched Rogan before, he forgets from podcast to podcast. I'm being kind here, but he appears to not absorb anything from anybody that tries to inform him on topics. But I'll get to that later on in this clip. But here, this is
just real.
There's a larger reason why I want to bring these clips up because Kid Rock discussing foreign policy, whatever. You know, no one is taking foreign policy cues, hopefully, from Kid Rock. But it's worth noting that what Kid Rock is discussing here is really not all that different from what the far right-wing Israeli government is doing and the U.S. is currently funding and backing.
In that spot, it's the end of the world. But where you are, it's not. And you got to look at it that way. And when I look at it that way, I'm like,
the only wars we won were fucking ones we were the most brutal motherfuckers on the planet. Which I don't disagree with what Israel's doing. It's like they should just go in there and be like, you know what? We want our hostages back. If we don't have them back, clock starts now in 24 hours. We're going to start bombing motherfuckers and killing fucking civilians. 30, 40,000 a time. So you civilians better pack up and get these and you go against Hamas.
Wow.
You fucking go against them.
Extreme brutality. Extreme brutality. Men, women, and children, basically, you know, blowing them away, holding them hostage. And we think Hamas Hamas is gonna come out of their hidey holes with their hands up singing Kumbaya, you win. I mean, this is such a harebrained, ass pull, cruel, fascistic train of thought here.
We're not playing fucking games with you. But that's the only thing people understand. This is what happened in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Boom. Just wiped out. They're like, oh, Yes, we don't have Supreme Leader anymore. We did not know you had such big bombs.
Yeah, but everybody has big bombs now. The problem is you.
Ooh, that was really tough. He almost went into his Japanese accent there. Had to hold back there.
Use a big bomb. You set a precedent that they can use a big bomb.
I've done that before.
All right. There is so much.
Yeah. So there we go. I just wanted to get that comment there. That's just kind of, and then he takes a big hork off a cigar. He's a multimillionaire, of course. I don't know. I don't know why. I guess I'm not surprised, but I mean, this is what we're dealing with, and the failure of the neoliberals to prevent the right wing from taking control from these characters, from these opinions, from becoming the mainstream, should be punished electorally, is what I'm trying to get at. We need to challenge these neoliberals. We need to primary them. We need to get them out of office. They are not doing a good enough job preventing the right wing from taking over. Because what happens when because it's Kid Rock, but Kid Rock is reflective of what the constituents these mentalities are. I mean, and some of these characters we have in government right now, some of these right wingers are genocidal in their speech. So do we think it's just talk? Do we think it's just talk when they get in control? And by the way, there's a good 50-50 chance right now. Latest polls with the margin of error, it's basically 50-50 Biden Trump. I haven't seen any movement one way or the other. Hold on, are we voting? Hold on. Oh, great. Ad block's been updated. Good. Oh, thank God. Okay, we're still up. Okay, Jesus Christ. Well, I'm not saying he's influential. I'm just saying he's like, he's like a bellwether. He's like a mirror on he's saying the things out loud that a lot of people, it's like what they basically agree with. It's like, oh, well, it's unfortunate, but we'll get over it because it won't affect us. We're in the lap of luxury. Look at this guy. He's in the prime of his life, right? He should definitely be able to make decisions for the entire population, right? It's so crazy. All these like 70-year-olds, 80-year-olds voting in a dictator. This guy will have total power. They have no idea what'll happen in 20 years. He saw them and he ran away. No, look, I don't mean to be ageist. I'm sorry. I apologize. That's out of line. I'm sure he's a nice grandpa, but it does bother me. We need to defeat them electorally this time. And I wouldn't recommend doing what unless if you live in a safe district, do whatever the hell you want. Like if you live in a district where Joe Biden is a guaranteed lock, go for it, right? But we should be voting strategically because we are in an existential crisis. What time do they close? 14 o'clock. 1 minute. 14. Yeah, I don't know. Soon. Let's see if I can get some info here. Coverage as voters, live updates. This is so lame. Like it's so funny how like they're all going through the paces, right? They're just kind of going through the motions. But it has never been more irrelevant, And going back to I think I didn't get to finish my thoughts on criticizing the Democrats for their incredibly anti-democratic process here, totally avoiding all debates. This incredible. It should be incredibly controversial. There should be a lot of criticism from the media, who's like, "Hey, we're getting zero access to this. We're getting zero information." Oh God, here we go from Kick. God help us all. It's Kick time. Hello, Dr. Strange. Oh, and he's a Marvel fan. Here we go. Oh, God. All kinds of red flags right off the bat. Oh, God. Happy to be back on Twitch. Sorcerer Supreme has entered the chat. Watch out. Man, CNN, like nobody has even given a rip about this. It's so funny, dude. I guess I'm early, right? Because a lot of this stuff is going to be starting later. So this will probably be a 2-part stream. I'll probably do a little bit of this, a couple hours, and then we'll take a break, take a pause, and then I'll jump in, do another hour or so. Got Kiddo, got to watch Kiddo. What happened? Oh, I had this sorted here. There we go. I'm just trying to find a live stream that's even doing like interviews with anybody.
Wow, they're already shaking up the diet and snack food industries.
Look at this crap.
They're reshaping how fitness clubs.
This is garbage, dude. They're talking about fucking fitness and crap, dude. This is fucking Super Tuesday. So maybe they're just trying to get it out of the way. Wow, what garbage. And like it's extra garbage. It's more garbage than usual. It's nothing. No one gives a rip. I'm way early on this. That's why I've timed this really badly. It's my fault. What were you saying about debates? Oh, it's anti-democratic how the Democratic Party has refused any challenge, and everyone's circling the wagon. It's understandable, and it's also shameful. Because there's not a single mainstream journalistic outlet that has any principles. They are circling the wagon for each side, and it is an incredibly existential and important election. It's probably the most important election in American democracy. Could be the end of it, at least temporarily. So it is important. But at the same time, it's incredibly shameful to I mean, there's no segments, man. I'm desperate. I'm dry. I'm scouring mainstream media for even a single 5-minute segment about how the Joe Biden strategy has resulted in basically a 50-50 result with an avowed fascist who's like, a convicted sex offender. And he can only squeak out 50%. You know what I mean? There's like zero critique whatsoever. And quite frankly, this attitude is, the DNC has kind of inherited this arrogant attitude of, well, we're the best you got. We don't have to get any better. Have you ever reacted? Okay. That's about the question on par I was expecting from this individual. We're just going to go ahead and look the other way. Thank you so much. Yeah. So no, it's the DNC. They their strategy is, we don't have to give you, we don't have to offer you anything, we don't have to change policy. They're not even, where's the concrete plan on reversing Roe v. Wade? Right? Like, I'm not even hearing like a concrete. I'm just hearing criticism that it's over, and they're like, oh well, we'll bring it back. Vague illusions. I mean, his cognitive state, he's just very old. He does not have dementia. I know, if anything, a real dementia argument seemingly could be better made at Trump with his recent slurring in statements. Yeah, I know, Dr. Strange. I know, honey. Okay, we knew when you walked in the door. Okay, honey. Thank you, dear. Let's go ahead and watch Russia get its butt kicked. Big props to your boy Davey for this amazing footage. We'll go ahead and do a little Ukraine news while we're waiting on people to vote, because I want to know what the results are going to be. Right, I want to know what the results are going to be, guys, from this vote. Big mystery. So once again, I'm calling it the Ukrainian Shadow Navy. Just another big big fucking victory here. Trump is losing it like more than usual. I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence about losing it. I'm on the fence. A little on the fence. It was such a minefield. Oh, it's constant right-wing idiocy. It's where all the right-wing weirdos, you know, when after they've made their 30th alt account on Twitch and they've given up, they've finally resigned themselves to a hive of villainy. I mean, what else could you call Kick but a hive of villainy? Like the top streams are gambling and other like avarice and you know, stealing content. Yeah, weirdos, incels, etc. And we all know what we're talking about when we're saying etc. Right? My Little Pony fans, but not quite. I don't understand how we're still talking about the possibility of a Trump. Exactly, Chem Goblin, and there's zero criticism of the neoliberal party for offering up anything that is, you know, people are like, well, maybe fascism is, you know, maybe we do need Chem Goblin. There's absolutely nothing wrong with My Little Pony if you were a 9-year-old girl. If you were a 30-year-old man, what can I say, man? Let's see that web browser history, and then we'll talk. Ageist. It's an incredibly niche subculture, these adults that watch this cartoon show. And sexist? Really? Sexist? Oh no, guys. Oh no. Do we have a brony? We have a brony in our midst. We have a brony. Brony alert. Brony alert. Brony alert. We have a brony. Anyway, this is Ukraine totally kicking butt. Turn in your woke card. I don't know, man. I just, you know, grown ass man. I've watched a couple episodes of the cartoon to be like, okay, is there some subtext? You know, just to be like, okay, like, you know, oh, it's a children's cartoon. Rather ridiculous. It's stupid. You know, feelings are good. Be nice to each other. Nonsense. I've seen what the bronies get up to. We all have the internet. Hell, half the time they like to post it like right in front of your face. Oh, look, this is what I'm into. Oh, that's disgusting. Wow, that's a very large cartoon penis on that little girl pony cartoon. All right. I mean, with that said, you do you. You do you, but there's a cross section. There's a cross section. Right? Let's just say I wasn't surprised when the news about Vosh came out recently, right? Wasn't exactly surprised. Yeah, renewing my woke card's gonna be a bitch now. No, look, if you are a brony that doesn't get down like Vosh does, well, he likes horses. He certainly likes ponies. But he likes more than ponies. It's unbelievable that why did he do this? Why did he do? I just don't understand it, you know? Like I said, check the browser history. Vosh was like, okay, check my browser history. Oh, he likes horses. Big difference.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
Wait, is voting happening? Okay, people are still voting. Let's read the insane YouTube chat. It's always insane. Why is Trump always alone? Trump will very soon have a Mitch McConnell moment on stage. Yeah, that's what some people are saying. Trump needs your money. Vivek is a great orator. Hold on, you can't see this. Hold on, let me get this up here. Let me pop this out. Let me just pop this out, and we'll just give it its own Yeah, hold on here. See if I can do this. This will be cool if I can do this. Not gonna work. Oh, it works. That's cool. That's really cool. So let's take a look at some of these. Let me just get it. We can see the voting and we can, no, you can't read it. Okay, well, it's fine. We'll just read them. We can see here. There we go. That's fine. See some people voting in the left there. Those MAGA hats are not cheap. I want freedom and peace. I want Trump. Oh, honey. Oh. Silent majority cometh. Melina left Don after the money ran out. Oh, it might be true. Like, you know, I was actually surprised she didn't divorce him immediately after, you know, leaving the White House. And I guess it was because the money was there. But yeah, there's lots of speculation that a divorce might be happening. I want peace and order. Let me order too. Okay. I mean, it's a real shame. Where can I buy a MAGA hat with a fair price? I'm not paying $45 again. That guy's trolling. The guy has to be trolling. God, I love insane YouTube cam. I could literally watch this all day, dude. Have you ever done that? Watch just the insane YouTube comments. They're always insane. Get those Trump sneakers now. Trump needs your money. He did he lower the price? I heard he lowered the price. Nah, I'm good. Shut up. Or pretty much said he could become president even though all these felonies against his name. No, not quite. I mean, after you know, contemplating and thinking about it, like I guess I understand now why the liberal justices agreed, because it is opening up it is opening up a huge can of worms. If the Supreme Court allowed the state Supreme Court to take a person off the ballot, because state Supreme Courts in certain right-wing states have been captured fully, 100% corrupted. You know, Texas. I listed them off yesterday. Texas, Arizona, Kentucky. So all you need to do, some erroneous case, right? Get all your little corrupt crony Mitch McConnell style judges. Get it right up to the top. Supreme Court says, "Oh, yep. Biden, you know, his farts smell like eggs. So he's an insurrectionist." Anything, you know, I'm just using like anything. They'll literally say anything. Oh, you know, his failure to secure the border is probably the excuse that they would use right now. His failure to secure the border indicates that he is an enemy of the United States, and we declare as a state Supreme Court that he is a insurrectionist and take him off the ballot. So I get it. At the same time, I feel like there's no special mechanism, you know? So say it gets to a state Supreme Court and passes. Yep, he's an insurrectionist. Well, that should trigger a whole federal process then. That verifies that claim, strikes it down if it's not true, and if it is true, enforces it. It's like we don't know how to make laws anymore. It's all intentional. It does seem to be benefiting the right wing. All right, well, this is fascinating. I'm going to keep this insane. I want to keep this around. It's so bonkers, but no, I'll just remove it. Let's just get a little bit more. Hold on. I just want just a little taste, just one more bump. Oh, Gooby says his wife left him because I won't vote for him. Trump needs your money because he's a billionaire. Trump is so lucky he gets to clap Melina's cheek. Get him. He doesn't get to clap those cheeks, dude. You know, only in the best of times does he get it once a year. And he's got to pay up, dude. She gets a bonus. He ain't clapping nothing. Right. The man, I mean, look, and I'm not trying to make fun of people who are incontinent that have, you know, issues with their bowels. You know what I mean? It sucks, dude. That really exists. What'd I do? Hold on. Okay, yes. It sucks. You know, people have Crohn's disease. You know what I mean? Like it's a legitimate thing, right? But Donald Trump has had that issue, that medical issue, since the 80s at least. He blew his whole GI tract out doing horse tranquilizers and quaaludes and shit, dude. Doing that really good shit from the 80s, you know? That really expensive shit that only the rich guys could get a hold of. The really good coke, the really good ludes. You know what I'm talking about? That good shit. Oh, it was so good, Chem Goblin. It was better than morphine, I hear. I've never done it. But the guys that got to do quaaludes, man. Good shit. That's what they say. Yeah, and it was like, you know, getting that shit in the 80s was tough. So he blew his whole GI tract out. And you know, so I mean, like, how do you even, you know, no wonder, you know, the way that Stormy Daniels described the way that he had sex was like he had to go to the bathroom. He prepared himself and then he ran out and like immediately like right? I bet that this is the News Underground. We talk about everything. Yo, Lenny and this motherfucker. Greetings from south of Boston. If you want somebody that isn't disgusting and interesting, make sure you like and subscribe to your boy Lenny. AccidentsWaitingToHappen.com. But you know that makes sense because he homie's got to wear a diaper. Trump's got to wear a diaper, dog. I don't know what to. Am I triggering right wingers right now in Kick? Am I triggering the right wingers on Kick by pointing out that reality? You know, but straight up, you know, especially when you get older, you start having problems with your GI tract more and more, right? Oh, here we go. Fine. Oh, Wolf. Well, thank God, Wolf Blitzer. Oh, sweet Jesus. Oh, thank God. That's what we needed.
We've seen in polling them saying that 85% of them would go for Donald Trump. So what we actually know.
Borderline Feline, I just heard there's about 51 minutes left of Stupor Tuesday. So it wasn't 14 o'clock. Sorry. Misinformation.
Home state of South Carolina. She's not campaigning anywhere. It seems to me that she has a moment right now that she has to choose. Am I going to be someone who's going to go to the bitter end and represent this very small part of the Republican Party? Yeah. Or am I going to be someone who actually is not going to be viewed as obstructionist to what is going to be the Republican nominee, Donald Trump?
Yeah, it's a tough decision. I think she's going to make the decision to stay in. I think she's having it. Like, I know Nikki Haley a little bit. My wife worked for her years ago.
You guys find the perfect.
She seems to be enjoying
whatever.
Herself a great
you find the
deal.
Perfect one.
And I think she has made peace with the fact that she's not.
What are we going to do for these 50 minutes?
In 2024. And meanwhile, she's raising a ton of money. She's collecting a lot of names.
Let's do some Ukraine news. You know, we'll keep popping in. Let's listen to this debate. Let's listen to this back and forth for just 5 more minutes, and then we'll do some Ukraine news. Okay, Kim Goblin?
You know, the next 24 hours. But I don't think there's any reason why she has to endorse Donald Trump in the next 24 hours.
I mean, I think that, for me, is the big question. Will she endorse Donald Trump?
Oh, my God, these people.
I mean, it is a really serious question because everything that she said, her entire campaign has been now based around this idea that I am the alternative. And to bend the knee, I think would undercut that.
She won't, but the question also is, what will Donald Trump say about her? I doubt he'll be gracious. I doubt he'll be gracious because that's not his way.
It's interesting, Jamie, because Donald Trump and Nikki Haley had a little war of words going on.
Show me your feet, Wolf.
Listen to this.
Oh, let's listen
to
Nikki.
There's no path for her to win, no matter what. Now, today, I should win, hopefully, every state.
I don't know why everybody's so adamant that they have to follow Trump's lead to get me out of this race. I'm not ready to get out yet. I'm still sitting there fighting for the people that want a voice.
Unpredictable.
So I just want to underscore what Jonah said. I don't think she's going to get out, but I spoke to 2 of her major donors, and they don't know what her plans are. One of them just texted me, hearing anything, ? So they're playing it very close to the vest. Look, one of the issues is, what is the strategy going forward? Apart from whether or not she endorses Donald Trump, does she see some path if the what if factor?
Yeah.
If Trump
Answer the
stumbles,
question.
is there a place for a Nikki Haley at a brokered convention? I don't think so. Not with Trump delegates. If she is, the path forward is
a big room.
to
That's
save
a great
the Republican Party in
That's
her mind down the road, then how does she endorse him?
I don't think she does.
So
I don't know
that's
if that first
Answer the
Republican
question,
debate,
woman.
she raised her hand
Right.
when she was asked, will you support,
Trump dies,
eventually support the Republican nominee?
or gets
She made a
arrested.
commitment at that time.
She's gone soft
Goes
on
to
that
jail.
Now she's
answer.
walked away from that commitment.
She is.
We'll see what happens.
She's not Chris Christie, but she's really walked away from that answer.
Yeah,
and
the
after all she
Honorable
said
Chris
about Donald
Christie.
Trump, how could she endorse him?
Yeah.
She's going to endorse him, you fucking clowns. What are you talking about?
There's a lot more
If you
we're
want
going
a
to be
political
discussing.
career,
This
you're
is
going to
CNN's
endorse
special
him.
coverage of Super
Holy
Tuesday
shit,
continues.
these people get paid money,
Up next,
dude.
we'll take you live to North Carolina.
Where's my
Where
paycheck?
the governor's race is also
you know how much
getting
money
ugly.
it was just revealed recently? You know how much money Wolf Blitzer be getting a year? 12 million motherfucking ducats, dude. Unbelievable. 12. This guy. I've never seen him make any other expression.
Give us a clue of what's going on this important day. Stay with us.
No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Let's watch more kick-ass Ukrainians kicking ass. Let's do that. Let's do that instead. Possibly the first footage of a strike against a Russian patrol ship, Sergei Kotov, last night. Was this last night? March 4th? Yep, last night. The Kerch Bridge has been closed for 9 hours already, according to Telegram channel Crimean Wind. It needs to be investigated. So check this out, dude. This is like right out of a movie, right? Like you're hearing this shit. I don't know if this is a civilian boat. I'm not quite sure. By the way, this is from Davey. But this is so wild. You're hearing this stuff, and then you see it. It's right out of Hollywood. I can't deny. Maybe because Hollywood has done such a good job of like the shaky cam, kind of like real cam, kind of feeling.
Yeah, bud.
Yeah, buddy. I don't know if that's a drone going off or a missile hitting. One more time, though. You can see the tracers going back and forth.
Yeah, bud.
Come on, dude. Ukrainian Shadow Navy. Love it. Love it. Absolutely love it. With that said, though, Ukraine is, they're threatening that, hey, we're going to have to shift into a full defensive stance and stop with any offensive whatsoever if we don't get assistance. And I still fear that is going to be the reality, that they're going to have to shift into a completely defensive stance, and that also means intentionally losing ground. Maybe even faster than the pace of Bakhmut or Avdiivka, because they just won't have the resources to bog Russia down in that style, and it'll just have to be a strategy of, in Russia taking more and more of Ukraine. And, think of the civilians that are living in these villages, because it's not just like, you got to deal with Russians knocking on your door. You got to deal with artillery shells blowing up your house. It becomes a pretty big deal living in one of these occupied villages. Hey, honey, how are we doing? Do you need some help here? Okay. All right. Well, let me know. I can hold them or whatever if you like. Alrighty. Wife just came home. But let's keep this ball moving here. I want some more Ukraine news. It's like Wolf Blitzer is taking a powder. AP still doing it. Okay, we're still voting. Oh, is Trump going to make a speech? Should Trump do his victory speech? It's so funny to see Trump's podium getting ratings. Remember when that was a big deal and everyone was like, oh my God, Trump's podium is getting bigger ratings than Hillary Clinton. Oh, thank you. Ooh, my wife bought me a hamburger. All right, so let's get some Ukraine news. I want to see some Ukraine kicking some butt. That's what I want to see. The Kerch Bridge just exploded, according to this guy. Okay, not my baby. Is that all we have, though? Is that one clip that we already saw? Ukraine says 7 dead as drone attack sinks Russian ship. All right, let's see here.
Start with that news breaking in the last hour or so. Ukraine says it has attacked and destroyed a Russian patrol ship with naval drones in the Black Sea. Ukrainian military intelligence says the vessel, the Sergei Kotov, was hit near the Kerch Bridge, connecting Russia with occupied Crimea. This video was posted on social media and it appears to show the moment of explosion. A Ukrainian military intelligence spokesman says the ship...
I'm really shocked Russia doesn't have a countermeasure yet.
It has definitely been destroyed. Russian officials have yet to comment. Well, let's go live now to Kyiv and our correspondent Abdu Rasulov. Just take us through what we know then. We've seen the video. Just explain what we think it shows.
Well, according to Ukraine's military intelligence agency, the drones managed to successfully hit and destroy the Russian ship Sergei Kotov. It's a corvette, and allegedly there were 5 drones used in the attack, and the battle lasted for about 40 minutes. And what is interesting is that Ukrainian drones tried to attack this very same ship in the past twice, and the third attempt seems to be successful. And even though we still haven't heard any comments from Russian officials, Russian military bloggers admit that that ship, Sergei Kotov, has been lost.
I didn't hear that.
And it is quite important because it just shows you this trend that Russia is failing to have a dominance in the Black Sea. And despite the fact that Ukraine's fleet is no match to Russia's, they still manage to hit and destroy a number of Russian vessels, and they have had a number of successful attacks in the past, and therefore that Russia is unable to launch airstrikes, for example, from the Black Sea, or launch any attacks, amphibious attacks. So that's why this this incident is quite important.
And just tell us how it's being reported in Ukraine. Clearly, it's the Ukraine military service that's released these images that we're watching now.
Yeah, Ukraine.
Well, yes.
Yeah, Ukraine has accepted volunteers from all over the country, all over the world. I mean, United States, Ireland. I mean, you never know. You never know where Australia. You'll never know where some of these people who have come out to support Ukrainian democracy and have volunteered their lives in support of the Ukrainian cause. It really is inspiring sometimes when you see some of these individuals. Yeah, even Russian deserters in some cases. And the way it works is they're basically, if they're legitimate military, they are basically hired by the Ukrainian military. They're not considered mercenaries.
These images were also discussed by our colleagues from BBC Verify, and the outlines of the ship appears to match the same class, the same type of those vessels, the corvette, like Sergei Kotov. Sure. And therefore, we believe that that video appears to show the very same ship that is claimed to be destroyed. And the attack happened at night, and those drones that are operated by the Ukrainian military intelligence agency, they have the night visions, and therefore they are able to launch these attacks at night. And when Russian military are not expecting major attacks.
Okay, Abdullah, we'll leave it there for the moment. But interesting.
Like how are the Russians? They don't have radio jammers. I mean, radio jammers were a thing in World War II. I'm really curious, like, what is the radio technology like? How are they, are these things even operating wirelessly? Is there just a big cable now? That would be wild. Just a big fucking cable. Can't do shit about that. Can't jam that. It was a UK operation. I don't think they were volunteers. Well, you're wrong. We've been following this pretty closely. Like I said, there are volunteers from all over the world. They're not sent there by their government. They were trained by their government, right? These are usually ex-soldiers, or soldiers that are retired, and they were not sent there by any government. They volunteered to go, and then were hired by the Ukrainian military.
You were talking about the fact that BBC Verify has been looking at those images as well. Let's speak to Alexander Lord, an expert on the Russian Navy and at the risk analysis advisory company Sibylline. Thank you for joining us and talking to us. This news obviously just breaking in the last hour or so. What's your assessment as to how significant this strike is from the Ukrainian perspective?
Absolutely. So this is just the latest in a very successful, it has to be said, Ukrainian maritime counter-offensive that we've seen over the last 6 months. Obviously, the 2023 counter-offensive on land failed to achieve major strategic or operational objectives. Quite the opposite is unfolding at sea, where the Ukrainians have distinctly inflicted significant damage onto the Russian Black Sea Fleet. If this is confirmed, this would this latest attack would mean that the Black Sea Fleet has lost around a quarter of its surface fleet. That is a significant proportion of Russia's maritime capabilities in the Black Sea region, which will have not only an impact on Ukraine's ability to continue exporting grain via the Odessan ports through the Western Black Sea and pushing back Russia's maritime and naval blockade. But of course, it will also have an impact on Russia's ability to utilize these warships to fire long-range cruise missiles at Ukrainian targets, which has been the case throughout this war.
And there's video being posted on social media of this attack, and we understand it's been carried out by naval drones. Now, we think more about drones in the sky, but I think sea drones have become increasingly used. How significant are they? Is this a new development in the war?
Absolutely. So this is an area of innovation which the Ukrainians are really spearheading, and they've put a lot of resources into developing this new form of maritime capability. Now, naval drones aren't necessarily new to this war, but what we are seeing is the operational development at pace of this new technology. The Ukrainians are operating numerous types of unmanned, uncrewed maritime drones, and they have been utilized to great effect throughout this war. This is an area where the Ukrainians will continue to innovate as well.
Kind of strategy. I think I know what you're talking about.
This is putting a significant strain on Russia's maritime defenses. These surface vessels are incredibly vulnerable to these sorts of attacks, and I think it's particularly notable that the Sergei Kotov was attacked near the Kerch Strait, which of course is east of Crimea. So while the success of the Ukrainian maritime campaign has forced the Russian surface fleet to move ever eastwards, this latest attack is just the latest indication that the Ukrainians are innovating longer range maritime drones, and essentially they can reach the Russian surface fleet wherever they are in the Black Sea. So this is something that the Ukrainians will continue to develop, and as the Ukrainians are on the back foot on land, I think it's clear that this latest attack indicates that the Russians are on the back foot at sea.
Yeah, just take us through, because obviously we know how important Russia's Black Sea Fleet is. Just take us through the damage that Ukraine has managed to inflict.
These behemoths.
Absolutely.
Getting toppled by these little robots.
Over the last 6 months have claimed many, and we've confirmed many losses for the surface fleet in particular. We have corvettes, patrol ships, as this latest attack was, and also I think crucially landing vessels, landing craft. Now, in the early phases of the invasion, numerous Black Sea Fleet surface vessels, including landing craft, were maneuvering ominously off the coast of Odessa, threatening a naval invasion. Obviously, since then, the Russians are on the back foot
and Mike
at
Johnson
sea.
wants
they
to
have
starve
lost
this
a
military.
significant proportion of their amphibious landing capability to such an extent that essentially this is no longer a threat to the western Ukrainian coast. The Russians have made it pretty clear in their rhetoric, in official declarations, that they want Odessa. They consider Odessa a Russian city, but the threat from the sea is significantly less now than it was in early 2022.
Alex.
Yeah. So Ifako, I don't know if I'm saying your name correctly. I think that is the training that that other chatters there were talking about. So yeah, I do acknowledge that yes, there is state-sponsored training, but there's no state-sponsored boots on the ground. It is interesting though, because you will see it can be very confusing. Because you'll see combat footage with Americans, with Brits, with Australians, like I said, and they'll have their flag, they'll have their country's flag on their uniform. So you're like, wait a minute, are U.S. troops in? It's like I'm not sure. Are there U.S. troops now? It's like no, they're volunteers, but that's how anybody can buy those patches and put them on their uniforms, and it helps identify where people are from. It helps with identification with fellow soldiers. So. No, I support the United States, the UK, NATO, sending in troops, boots on the ground, combat troops. That really it would no longer be a proxy war, though, would it? It would just be a direct war in Ukraine. So, I understand why you wouldn't. Why you wouldn't want to do that. And quite frankly, the Ukrainians are perfectly happy fighting this war on their own if we just supply them properly. Well, Ifako, if you want a good comparison, I make this comparison quite a bit because that is a legitimate concern about the Middle East and the failures of the United States strategy in the Middle East. But I would like for you to compare the Afghanistan army, which folded in 14 hours, to the Ukrainian army, which won't fold for shit. Right? We'll fight tooth and nail. I don't know if to the last man, but the Ukrainian military will fight tooth and nail for its own existence. We might see fighting to the last man. We'll have to see. But calmer heads may prevail because Russia won't turn down the brutality meter. Russia will happily grind up every single Ukrainian soldier and then plant the Russian flag in Kyiv. So cooler heads may prevail and prevent a lot of unnecessary deaths if Russia were to complete that project. But yeah, I mean, just compare like I said before, just compare the Afghanistan military, which was a complete joke, propped up 100% confirmed, by the way, propped up by the U.S. military, was absolutely useless without us. The moment we left, folded like a piece of paper, compared to the Ukrainian military, which is, like I said, a group of motherfucking badasses, without a doubt. Who will do everything in their power to push back, even if they don't have the support of the United States or the West. But can I predict? Does that mean the complete eradication of the Ukrainian military, or what will happen? Who knows? Right, who knows? Ooh, boy, hostilities escalate between Israel and Hezbollah. Ooh, fun.
Israel's...
Girls, spill the tea. What is the tea? Okay, we got 30 minutes. Let's get some man on the street. I want to hear some man on the street. Election stuff. We just had... Let's go back to election for a little bit.
You've tired of him, it sounds like. Is that fair to say?
It's not that I'm tired. It's just, a lot of the legal issues and a lot of the stuff that he...
Yeah, I like the fascism.
A lot of... he stirs up a lot of hate in this country, and I think we don't need that.
I think we just need a different direction. And Sergio went on to tell us that if Donald Trump is the nominee in the general election, he and his wife are considering sitting out of the election.
Yeah.
And we should point out that one of the other interesting things to
That's my prediction, that a lot of guys like him are just going to be sitting it out.
Immigration and how that is going to affect new voters in the Republican Party. Republicans feel like they are making inroads with traditional Democratic Latino voters along the border. And it'll be interesting to see how they pick up those votes and compare that with the voters in the suburbs of the big cities that have been so alienated by Donald Trump. Kate?
Ed Blavendera in El Paso for us.
Well, that was very interesting. Let's take a look at Davey's link here, talking about if this is how NATO should be used in Ukraine. Interesting. Okay. So Davey has talked about this in the past. Yeah, all right. Let Ukraine fight Russia. We just protect its other borders. So this is an interesting idea. So listen to this. This is quite a trip. So boots on the ground, technically. But they act exclusively in defense. Basically, Ukrainian troops, of course, have to guard their entire border, right? Even though there's really not a lot of conflict happening here. A lot of the conflict is happening over here. Airstrikes and little pokes, things happening here and there, maybe. But what if NATO and the international community gave these troops just replace them, right? Totally defensive, not in any offensive manner. Just replace them, allowing for, I don't know, tens of thousands of Ukrainian troops to then go to the front lines. I don't know who's Davey's been talking about it for well over a year or longer. So it's interesting to see it laid out here on the map here, but it's a fascinating idea. And if I was a leader, I'd probably go, yeah, I'm down with this. Because Russia doesn't want that smoke. Oh, Russia will be talking about nukes, and Russia will be talking about escalation, and Russia will be talking about this, and Russia will be talking, oh, they're prepping for an invasion. See, look at that. They're lining up on our borders. See, look, they're getting ready for an invasion. Oh, he'd say all kinds of shit. But at the end of the day, he'd have to deal with the frontline consequences of this action. Meanwhile, the international community does not move 1 inch into Russian territory, holds its ground into Ukraine, and proves Putin wrong in his prediction. So I would be down with this. So big props to Davey. Seemingly, I think he's been right from the start on that one. Why would NATO protect a non-NATO member's borders? Why not the UN and the international force? Yeah, I don't think it would. I notice how it's using individual countries' flags and not NATO flags. It couldn't be NATO. It would have to be just individual contributions, just a totally separate agreement, right? Just solidarity on a different, just on a different agreement. Yeah, because it couldn't be NATO. Yeah, because that would the treaty it'd be too messy. Because like NATO, that's the whole thing, is that NATO refuses to act if it's a non-NATO country. So it would have to be a separate NATO agreement. It would have to be an agreement outside of NATO. Yeah, that's a good point, War Patriot. Oh man, can we get more people on the street interviews? I mean, no offense. Let's hear what they're talking about.
Blue state Democrats
Is it Nikki
say,
Haley?
You know what? We do need a solution. Our president, Joe Biden, had a solution, and you blocked it.
Yeah, one thing Ashley's talking about that is we've
talking about immigration. The quote unquote solution was an incredibly right wing plan to treat immigrants as otherize them and brutalize them.
This one specifically, I want to play for you, Shermichael, how Donald Trump has spoken today and recently
very lefty plan
about
there.
Border security and immigration.
They're poisoning our country.
Our country is being poisoned. They're poisoning the blood of our country. Our pure blood.
And he's also often using the word invasion over and over again. Similar language to what we've heard 4 years ago. Similar language to what we heard 8 years ago.
My pure blood.
Is this what voters want to hear? If so, why?
I wouldn't use the poisoning the blood if I were advising the former president, but I do think the word invasion has resonance. I mean, Ashley talked about using Democratic mayors and governors to talk about these are the things that Joe Biden would do. I'll use Eric Adams, the mayor of New York, where we are. He's already articulated multiple times that the current administration isn't doing enough to address this issue. It's likely going to cost the city of New York $4.5 billion. You have Black residents, voters who are likely Democratic voters saying we don't want these individuals in our areas because we're already facing daily plight. There aren't enough resources for our everyday struggles, and now we're seeing those resources redirected to new individuals. So I do think that there is resonance there for the average hardworking American who's currently struggling under this economy, who sees, you know what, I don't like the way Joe Biden is handling this. He isn't trustworthy on this issue.
Bring this all together for us, Jamal, because wrapped up in all of this is a key voting bloc that Donald Trump has gained with and Joe Biden has had much more success with, is Hispanic voters.
Yeah, I'm going to tilt a little differently. There's her mic on this. You might be surprised.
I am floored.
You might be surprised about
Please,
that.
Jamal.
But listen, I think there's no reason for Joe Biden to go after the Republican voters that you guys might be talking about because he's never going to get them. Right? He's never going to go as far.
This is my initial question. Where is a win on this? You're not going to move anybody.
But there are a bunch of independents and a bunch of Democrats who are concerned about immigration and they want the president to do something about it. But he wouldn't use words like invasion because on the Democratic side, when we think about it, we think about something that has more to do with compassion and justice.
People who call themselves independents are just Republicans who have gay brothers or sisters
to be able to get in and live in peace, right? So that's why you wouldn't use a term like invasion, but you would talk about securing the border, path to citizenship for people who've been here for a long time, those kinds of questions that I think people actually really want the president to have a stance on, and we've seen it. Democracy, the economy, and immigration seem to be very big points on the polls for the Democrats.
And we heard a little bit of what you were just hitting on. It's almost like a little bit of both. We can have two thoughts in your head at one time.
Always on the defense. It feels like, I mean, Lenny, you know, you've been around the mulberry bush a few times. Feels like the Democrats have been on defense for decades. You know, just following, just being pulled by the nose by a right-wing narrative in whatever direction. The conversation should be about abortion, should be about protecting democracy, but no, it's about the fucking border. Exactly, and right where the right wing want the debate to be. Right there.
I don't know why everybody's so adamant that they have to follow Trump's lead to get me out of this race.
Oh, Davey.
One of Nikki Haley's top fundraisers is our guest.
Oh, wow. One of Nikki Haley's top fundraisers is our guest. Let's get back to this. Oh, I'm going to stick around. I'm not even going to leave. No, I want to catch this one. Nikki Haley's campaign manager, guys. You know, if I wanted to speak to a delusional person, I would, I'd go to the fucking mental hospital. Do those even exist anymore? Hostilities escalate between Israel and Hezbollah. Let's go ahead and watch this for a little bit while we wait for the end of Stupor Tuesday and the results, which I'm sure are going to shock you.
Defense Minister Yoav Gallant says his country is closer to making critical decisions about military activities in Lebanon and escalating tensions between Hezbollah and Israel. Now, Mr. Gallant made the comments to U.S. Special Envoy Amos Hochstein on Tuesday, according to a readout. It comes.
You can wait for Trump to die or get arrested and not spend millions of dollars pretending like you're some kind of viable campaign. You could just kind of chill at home and just like do interviews, with TV networks, and just like cross your fingers, right? And just continue to do the paperwork. Like you don't really need to spend tens of millions of dollars. Wasted on a farcical campaign, on a farcical presidential campaign that is literally crashing and burning right before our eyes. But we all knew that because why have Trump light when you got Trump at home? You know what I mean? Like why? I want real fascism. I don't want watered down corporate style fascism. It's so funny. Ron DeSantis really did nail Nikki with that one.
A day after Hochstein made these comments in Beirut as he met with senior Lebanese officials to try and find
keep the toilet paper
diplomatic
souvenirs.
de-escalation.
There is no such thing as a limited war. Escalation will not help the Lebanese and Israeli people return home. Escalation will not resolve this crisis.
Ukraine also got a
escalation will certainly not help Lebanon rebuild and advance forward at this critical time in Lebanon's history. But a temporary ceasefire is not enough. A limited war is not containable.
Officials say the U.S. administration is concerned that Israel is planning a ground incursion into Lebanon that could be launched in the late spring or early summer.
Boy, that would be really foolish.
Efforts fail. CNN's Paula Hancock joins me now live. Paula, what do you have?
It would be really foolish because it would force the United States to slow down the aid. It would overextend Israel. Israel would lose, I think, because the United States wouldn't allow them to follow through. So Israel could lose, and then they're licking their chops, or not licking their chops, but they're licking their wounds, and leaving them wide open, to who knows what, man. Like I said before, Israel is legitimately in danger from some kind of revenge from the Arab nations in its current configuration. If Israel decided to treat the Palestinians like human beings, I think, as we saw with Saudi Arabia, there's an opportunity for Israel to, treat Palestine like a country, treat them like human beings, and then start making deals with the rest of the Arab world, stop the antagonism. And that would remove this danger that Israel is under. But this current configuration, Israel is Israel with its antagonism is seen as a direct threat to some of these Arab nations. And that's not going to stop if it's not going to go away once the Palestinians are the eradication of the Palestinian country is complete and the West Bank is destroyed and Gaza is completely removed off the map. That antagonism isn't going to go away. Only if Israel treats the Palestinians like human beings would that go away.
Well, Becky, the fact that the US Special Envoy was in Israel today, Tuesday, he was in Beirut on Monday, really trying to talk both countries back from the ledge, pointing out how difficult it would be to try and contain any kind of what he called, quote, limited war between the two. And the US certainly is concerned that the diplomatic solution may not be enough.
Right there.
That'd be funny. NATO makes Palestine.
The voice of a child narrating the sounds of conflict. Israel's Iron Dome blocking another barrage of Hezbollah rockets. Billows of black smoke have become an almost permanent fixture on the horizon of the Israeli-Lebanon border. Near daily exchanges of fire, Israeli strikes pound parts of southern Lebanon villages. Homes have been reduced to rubble, buildings burned to the ground. And tens of thousands of Israelis remain evacuated from the border, out of reach of Hezbollah rockets. Escalating tensions over recent weeks between Israel and the Iran-backed Islamist group Hezbollah, one of the most powerful paramilitary forces in the Middle East, are sparking increasing fears of a wider regional conflict. US administration and intelligence officials tell CNN they're concerned Israel may be planning a ground incursion into Lebanon in the late spring or early summer.
Way, including you, Dari.
Israel's defense minister warned even if there's a temporary ceasefire in Gaza, it will.
I'm not saying that if Israel were to treat the Palestinians like human beings, that would somehow eliminate religious extremism in the Muslim community. But as we've seen with Saudi Arabia and Israel, it is absolutely possible for Israel to cooperate with Arab countries. But if you were a neighbor, if you were an Arab neighbor to Israel, you would be foolish to not take, to not at the very least see Israel's actions as provocative, and then seeing the way that they treat the Palestinians and their justifications for what they did to them. It's certainly fair to say, hey, there might be, a real threat here, coming from this Western supported country. And of course, the West doesn't really have a very good track record with the Middle East, Afghanistan and Iraq. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like, there's at least a little bit of an understanding there that, just back to what you said, like if they're, it's not going to eliminate religious extremism, but it would open the door for real state negotiations, real partnership. And that would prevent a kind of cascading event, right? Where like a massive terrorist attack would then lead to a big escalation into a big war, kind of like playing into the terrorist hands. As usually, one of the reasons why they'll do a terrorist act is kind of, push one side or the other into a conflict. Well, if there was real peace negotiations, if there was real dialogue between, Israel and its Arab neighbors, isolated terrorist incidents, which would probably still happen, wouldn't churn into, global, escalation into a massive global conflict. I mean, who else is Israel going to drag into this,
Continue and may even increase its attacks against Hezbollah.
Yeah, the disorganization of the Arab
Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah said their rockets would stop once a Gaza ceasefire is in place.
For the past few months, strikes have focused fairly close to the border region. However, Israel is now edging further north, hitting a town just last week over 100 kilometers from Lebanon's border. The deepest attack yet into Lebanese territory.
The IDF now ramping up drills, releasing this video showing its forces conducting training exercises in the north. One former officer believes greater Israeli force is inevitable if diplomacy fails, which he suspects it will.
If we want to make Hezbollah withdraw from the border, I don't see any other way to do it. Sadly, I'm saying it. I don't think that it's good for us or even for the Lebanese. It will be ugly. It will be painful for both sides. It won't be short.
A bloody war between Israel and Hezbollah in 2006 is still fresh in the region's memory, with concerns a repeat would be even more deadly.
This is Hezbollah 2.0. We don't know what Hezbollah is capable of today. No one. This is a very secretive organization. And we can already see it has way more sophisticated anti-tank guided
CNN, two Israeli spokespeople in a row.
Missiles, for example, and much more sophisticated drones.
Saad says that while Hezbollah may be war averse, it is not afraid of war. While some in Israel's war cabinet appear keen to use a truce in Gaza as a chance to sharpen focus on its northern border.
Jesus.
And nearly 200 have been killed in Lebanon since October. There's some 90,000 displaced on the Lebanese side of the border and about 80,000 displaced on the Israeli side. Becky?
Paula Hancock's on what is an extremely important story. Paula, thank you. Well, the UN's main agency in Gaza, UNRWA...
No analysis, just... Okay.
...is accusing Israel of detaining and mistreating its staff members.
All right. Let's double check on this. Hold on. Oh, commercial break in progress. Okay. Wow. I think we caught another commercial break. Let's see what's going on in Myanmar. Sure, why not? We got a couple more minutes till the end of it's 10 more minutes, I think, roughly, until the end of Super Tuesday, and we'll get the results here. I know everyone's waiting. Oh, look at this. This Zoomer went to Myanmar a year ago. Look at this. I visited what is known as the weirdest city in the world. Despite the strict travel warnings for Myanmar, I visited the country. Wow. Does it end in his death? I'll watch it if it ends in his brutal kidnapping and death. Luke Korn. Is that what his name? Luke Korn? That's funny. That's a good name. That's cool. That's a cool name. I want to hate on his name. It's a cool name. Korn. 6 days ago, the junta losing control on the ground. Myanmar's operation, foreign minister says. All right, let's take a look.
Hello and welcome to Tête à Tête, France 24's flagship interview show. Our guest today is Zin Mar Ong. She acts as foreign minister in Myanmar's opposition government, known as the National Unity Government, NUG. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
3 years after the coup in your country, is the junta about to lose control of the majority of the territory and maybe lose power?
Yes, it is. They are losing on the ground, and they already lose people's support since day one. But gradually, in practical control of on the ground is losing each and every day. It is very clear that.
How much of the territory do you control?
It's very difficult to talk exactly, but we estimate that almost 60% of the Myanmar territory are under the control of the ethnic M organization control area, and of course plus NUG control area.
Oh my God, the footage in the back is pretty nuts, dude. I don't know, you shouldn't post that on the internet, man. I don't know, dude. Does that go away in training? Your eyes going out, you're blinking, you can barely. I don't know. It just kind of seems like he doesn't shoot that gun.
Organization control area,
like
and of course plus NUG control area. Altogether, almost 60-70% of the territory are under the control of the Federal Democratic Forces.
Right. Would you say that there was indeed a turning point in October when there was an offensive by several of those ethnic armed groups, and they proved very successful? This really turned the tide for your fight?
Yes, of course, especially after Operation 1027 last year. So it is very clear that one of the evidence that the military is weakened.
Oh yeah, a lot of debris and stuff.
Already weakened, and also now the majority of our ethnic organizations are joining our revolutionary cause. So yeah, it is quite clear. I agree that, and on the ground we are even setting up our local governance to substitute their governance system.
Right. Are you having reports of army troops surrendering? Do you have figures of how many soldiers have already surrendered since this offensive?
Yeah, it is difficult to identify exact. We have to estimate numbers. Almost 20,000 defectors are already in our list, but it might be more than that amount, because in ethnic resistance control area, they are also each and every day they defect and joining and also the surrender in our fightings and battles. So it is more and more the soldiers are surrendering, and of course some are defects.
Right. What we've
looks like they're doing okay. Well, let's get some follow up on that a little bit later. We got 5 minutes left of of this. Let's go ahead and finish it out.
Why do you think she can?
Oh, we're still talking to Nikki Haley's campaign finance. Okay.
How she continues to appeal to donors.
To your point, I think she's become a cause, and she's become our spokesperson.
Look, so where do the 20, 30, 40% go if she loses the race?
That's a great question. I really don't know. Because my wing of the party wants to support Ukraine. I want to support Israel, and I want to support Taiwan, and I want to secure the border. And I don't think it's necessary that we have to do all four simultaneously.
Your wing
Let's
is
get
dying.
the wins where we can.
Talk to me about the struggle. I'm not going to ask you the question we were talking about in the break, because you think it's a useless question to ask who you would vote for when Nikki Haley's out, if you'd vote for Donald Trump. What is the struggle, though, for you? And if Nikki Haley is not running, what you do? Do you not vote? Is that an option for you?
Here's the struggle. Joe Biden is a cognitively impaired octogenarian whose policies I disagree with.
There we go.
In the extreme.
Yeah.
I think his distance he's putting between the United States and Israel now is disgraceful.
So we're voting Trump.
I think the way he's handled Ukraine, he's just simply not doing enough. He's always a day late and a dollar short, and he hasn't been forceful enough in dealing with China. The border, of course, is a crisis. Even he now admits that. So I can't vote Democratic. And the anti-Semitism on the radical left on these college campuses and across the country.
These people have no spines.
Have convinced me as an American Jew I cannot vote Democratic.
Trump time.
So can I vote Republican? Can I vote for Donald Trump? It's tough because Donald Trump has said has implied he's going to get out of NATO.
Well, he says he doesn't want your support.
It's so tough.
And how does he win?
It's so tough.
This is the struggle, and this is what we are presented with on a very important day with so many states voting, and a huge night for Nikki Haley as one of her big donors. Thank you for coming.
They're going to make their goofy predictions immediately.
All right, next, the first exit polling numbers, they are coming in as we're learning when the Trump campaign believes that they will have secured enough delegates to make Trump the presumptive Republican nominee. CNN special coverage continues.
Wow, totally delusional. Totally delusional. The death knell of the old Republican Party. We're hearing it. We're seeing it. The final croaks. Before the body finally dies. The Republican Party is dead. It's dusted. It's over. It's over, dude. It's MAGA now. The real question is, though, is what happens when Trump dies? Because there's no going back. There's no going back to this, Jeb Bush style of politics. Okay. So where do you go from here? And I think, what a lot of people are afraid of, that it's going to go further into the Vivek Ramaswamys, the Lauren Boeberts. It's going to go further into Clown Town. And, will there ever be a reckoning where the Republican Party says, okay, we're going to reel it back. We're going to reel it back on some of this stuff to try and get votes. No, because the strategy right now is to never have to worry about votes again, to secure these kind of majorities or change the rules of a local state government, to basically ensure Republican victories every single time so that they don't have to win democratically with their ideas. So they're kind of leaning on this strategy. And it's working. It's working. The Voting Rights Act was a total failure. It did not happen. The neoliberals are only fundraising off the threat of fascism. They're not doing anything serious to stop it. But they're still going to do their little predictions with 0% of the vote in. CNN predict, CNN want to be the first one to get to the, like anyone cares, man. Oh, did this network get the scoop on that network? No one gives a flippin' flappin' jack, dude. TikTok gets the scoop on CNN. Remember when I got the scoop on MSNBC and the whole goddamn crew because of the help of Kronos? Hooking me up with the Trump mugshot 10 minutes before they broadcasted it? No one gives a flip. Scoops. Predictions. They've been talking for hours. There's a great opportunity to talk about how undemocratic the system has become. Talk about how there's been zero pushback, about the DNC and the Democrats basically, pushing out any kind of opposition, any kind of debate, zero debate. Basically an acknowledgement from these mainstream people that, it's probably not a good call for Joe Biden to debate anybody on the left or the right. I get it. At the same time, though, like I don't want to undercut the existential crisis that we're facing. CNN already has 15 individual screens saying breaking news. We can now call Michigan for Trump. Yeah, exactly. They get the producers getting them all lined up. I can't wait to see it. It's going to be one right after the other. Do you think they're going to do a stupid breaking news, like little flippy, little special magic bumper every time they do it? I hope they do it. I hope it's like they're really prepping for something here too. This is a long commercial break. I want to see this. I want to see this ridiculous fucking spectacle. They've this entire time. Once again, I'm going back to what I said yesterday. It feels like a lot of this is on autopilot. They wanted a horse race. They tried to create one. It was laughable the entire time. It was a great opportunity to talk about what a farce our democracy has become and how how much in danger we truly are, and instead they talked about Nikki Haley's viability and, like it's spending, long 20-minute interviews with Nikki Haley's campaign finance manager. Wow, dude. Wow, what kind of insight we're going to get there? Oh, yeah, she's part of a movement. She's part of a movement, huh, guys? Nikki Haley, dude. So, it's going to be tough. I can't vote for Joe Biden. So, I am definitely going to vote fascism. But he's so despicable.
Breaking news, new exit polling just
he wants to
coming
get us out of NATO.
CNN as millions of voters head to the polls in 16 contests across the country. Welcome back to CNN's special coverage of Super Tuesday. I'm Wolf Blitzer in Washington.
What the hell happened?
I'm Kate Baldwin in New York. And Wolf, our political team is going through the exit polling numbers.
What the hell? 2 hours?
Speak.
What?
And in a moment, we will know.
Did we go back in time? Is this the beginning of the stream?
And why? And what it could tell us not only about tonight's outcomes, but also in the November general election. Donald Trump is hoping tonight will put him one very big step closer to pulling off something that hasn't happened in over 100 years, and that is to win non-consecutive terms. Trivia of the night, the last person to do that, Grover Cleveland, back in 1892.
Grover Cleveland, like me, a fellow Buffalonian. That's right, Kate. Very proud of Grover Cleveland and Millard Fillmore for that.
Homie, you look like Grover Cleveland. Look at you.
Republicans, there are 865 delegates up for grabs, and a strong showing tonight for Trump will put the nomination within striking distance. We have a team of our reporters fanned out across the nation as Americans head to the polls. I want to start with our Kristen Holmes. She's been working her sources with the Trump campaign all day. She's over at Mar-a-Lago tonight in Florida. Kristen, you have some new reporting, I understand, at this hour. What can you tell us?
What can you tell us?
That's right, Wolf. So I've been talking to senior advisors to the Trump campaign who say that they are obviously aware that Donald Trump is not going to hit that threshold to become the presumptive nominee tonight. But their big hope, and it's actually twofold, is one, that he will get enough delegates to essentially cinch the nomination next week, or at least as early as next week. And also that his win is definitive.
So the Washington, D.C. loss that actually did slow him down just a little bit.
Very aware of the fact that Haley hasn't said what she's going to do past Super Tuesday. But to be very clear, they are not counting on her dropping out. They have already pivoted to a general election. Their focus is on President Joe Biden. They just want this win to be definitive enough so that Donald Trump and his team can begin uniting the party around the former president as they head into November.
Gordon test chamber.
Kristen, thank you so much. Let's go now to John Berman in Castle Rock, Colorado. John,
she fell asleep,
Colorado was the center of the effort to keep Trump
Mar-a-Lago
off the
watch
ballot,
party tickets?
an effort that was swatted down by the Supreme Court. You've been talking to voters all day since we were on TV together earlier. What are you hearing now?
So Colorado has been in the news lately, Kate, hasn't it? The Supreme Court decided yesterday that states could not ban Donald Trump for being on ballots, for being an insurrectionist. And I can show you right here on this sample ballot. Donald Trump's name is on it. It has been on it because the previous lower court decision was stayed until the Supreme Court weighed in. But now that the court has weighed in, it's just staying on the ballot. And people have had this chance to vote for Donald Trump for weeks and weeks now, as most people in Colorado vote by drop box. But in terms of the impact of that court decision, I did have the chance to talk to some voters, including Donald Trump voters, about what not just this court case, but all the court cases, how they have impacted their feelings about Trump. Listen.
Fake news. That'd be good.
Any of the issues surrounding January 6th, the court cases, how much do they weigh into your vote?
A lot, because they're trying to take away freedom from being able to vote, being able to elect, and making it a federal issue, or the Supreme Court issue, to take that away from us, and that's not okay.
So these cases make you more likely to vote for Trump, not less likely?
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, so not an obstacle,
our only choice is
an incentive to vote for Donald Trump. That is among Trump voters. We have seen a number of Democrats here, I want to say, who are here to vote for President Biden in the Democratic primary. And when you ask them what's motivating them, their answer,
die out either.
Donald Trump. So you can see the motivating factor in this election is this historic candidacy of Donald Trump, who is trying to be, as you both have noted, the first non-consecutive president in U.S. history. And Wolf, as I toss it back to you, I think I was in embed covering the Grover Cleveland campaign in the 1890s.
Yeah. What about Millard Fillmore?
Yeah, no, there's a bunch of ancient
I did
fossils
not. I
in
missed the
mainstream
Millard
media.
Fillmore
Yeah,
campaign,
you should
but
get
I did
off
study
fucking
it in college.
TV. I agree.
I studied it too. All right, thanks, John
Not
Berman,
to be
very
ageist,
much. We have breaking.
No, how about we replace some of these guys with old people that are actually worth a damn, right? Let's get some Lenny up there.
Numbers will give us the first clues about who some of these primary voters are and how they feel about a key issue that could define the general election. David Chalian, our political director, has been carefully going over these new numbers. He's joining us now.
God.
David, give us the latest on what you're learning.
Yeah, well, we're going to look here at two states on the East Coast, Virginia and North Carolina. They close earlier in the evening.
Well, this is interesting,
of the
actually.
16 states holding contests today. And a sense of the electorate showing up in these Republican presidential primaries. We asked, do you consider yourself part of the MAGA
It's so
movement
crazy to me. They're all going to vote Trump.
1% of Republican primary voters in these early numbers, and these will change throughout the night as more surveys come in.
They're so
say
delusional.
that yes, 31% say yes, they're part of the MAGA movement, but 6 in 10, 59% of Republican primary voters in Virginia say no, they're not part of the MAGA movement. That's the least MAGA electorate we've seen in primaries to date. It looks more similar to what we saw in New Hampshire.
I don't know,
in
Kim
North
Goblin, because
Carolina,
we live in a hell
more
world.
MAGA-fied, if you will. With 39% say yes. They
They're
consider
so
themselves to be a
delusional,
part
woke
of the
patriot.
MAGA movement. 54% say they are not.
It's like they
Back to
know it's
Virginia, we
shameful,
asked,
dude.
if Donald Trump is convicted of a crime,
There's North
is
Carolina,
he
though,
still
admitting
fit
it.
for the presidency? 53%, a majority of Republican primary voters say yes. Donald
Lenny,
Trump
you
is
should
still
replace
fit for the
Wolf Blitzer,
presidency,
dude.
even if he is convicted of a crime.
I'd love to see
40%
that.
say no. In North Carolina, even more so. 64% of Republican primary voters in the Tar Heel state are saying, yes, Trump is fit for the presidency, even if a convicted criminal. Only 32% will say he is not. This is Donald Trump's Republican Party.
Very interesting numbers indeed. All right, thanks very much, David, for that update. And we're going to be getting a lot more exit polling information coming in, so stand by for that. But Jamie, let me get your reaction. I think it's pretty significant. Only 39% of Republican voters in Virginia said yes. They believe that they are part of the MAGA movement. 59% say no. In North Carolina, a little different. 39% say yes, part of the MAGA
they'd be in a
movement.
coma.
54% say no.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
my dad's the same too,
that
guys.
doesn't mean they won't vote for Donald Trump at the end of the day.
Yeah, they're all voting
They just
Trump.
don't identify as part of the MAGA movement. To me, Wolf, the
They're
other
delusional.
numbers that were more striking was the question that followed, is he fit to be president?
If convicted.
If convicted. In Virginia, 53%, more than half, say he's fit to be president. In North Carolina, 64%, even more. Look, one of the questions we're trying to find out here is with people who are not MAGA, who might want an alternative to Trump.
No.
Can Joe Biden
The best we can do
peel
is
these
that they're
people
going to sit
away
out.
in November? When you see numbers like that, and let's just say, as David Challing just said, these are the
MAGA
first
Democrat
exit polls
insult.
coming in. They're not. These are the early
MAGA
polls.
is now
they're
a
not the final
Democrat
polls.
insult?
But when you see
real,
more than
dog?
half saying that he's fit to be president if he is convicted,
Never ends, you
that
fucking
does
people.
not sound very optimistic for Joe Biden being able to peel away these
I mean, it just
voters.
never ends with these.
I
these
disagree.
idiots.
I disagree as well.
Yeah, I mean, look, the people who are voting today, let's just say they're all going to vote for Trump if Trump's the nominee. Those are not the people that Joe Biden needs to win over. The people Joe Biden needs to win over are mostly what they call dual haters, people who don't like Biden or Trump. First of all, I'm very skeptical about these numbers. It sounds to me like Northern Virginia is doing a lot more exit polling than Central and Southern Virginia. But if you need, as the rule of thumb is that you need 90% of your own party to win in the two-person race, if 4 in 10, 3 in 10 of your own most committed voters in a primary are saying, yeah, that rules them out, what does that say about moderates, squishy, middle-of-the-road swing voters? Those numbers can be much higher for those people.
Can I just say one thing quickly, which is we just saw Kate Baldwin interview a Nikki Haley donor
who said in the end he would consider voting for Trump over Biden.
Yeah.
So I just don't know that these things are so black and white with that
well, I think they're not black and white, but I do think it spells trouble. I mean, when you see 4 and 10 voters
the
saying
mask is off.
in a very Republican state like, you know, North Carolina, that it would be disqualifying. I mean, the big question is, will that even come to pass because of all the legal delays that we've seen?
We don't know.
We don't know. So this might all just be speculative. But there is clearly a real problem that I see for Donald Trump. On the other hand, with Joe Biden, the thing that I've been looking for are what are black voters doing? What are Latino voters doing? We saw eye-popping numbers in these recent polls over the weekend showing a real shift. And so if Joe Biden can't get his coalition together, then you're going to really see, like, where are all these people going to go, and are these people going to cross-pollinate?
I think these numbers that show that, you know, more than half of these voters would believe he would be fit to be president if convicted, shows you something we all already know, which is that this is Donald Trump's Republican Party, period. Yeah. These are loyalists who, and we heard it on our air
she
just
got a joker
recently,
mouth, dude,
you know,
on what's going on with
the
this.
more the justice system takes him on, the more she supports him.
Not much more surgery
because
could
she
be
believes
happening
it's
here.
unfair, and the Justice Department has been weaponized, and that message has gotten through. And it seems to me that these are just committed voters. And the one thing Joe Biden does not have, I mean, if you ask that question of Biden voters, you know, I don't know what the response would be. It's purely hypothetical, of course, but you know, these people are there for him no matter what.
I agree with all that, and I think it's one of the more frustrating things is that Trump is running.
Progressives need to primary neoliberal Democrats.
They've rigged all of these primaries to be basically winner take all for his benefit. If a Romney or a Bush had done that in the past, the populace would have been freaking out. So I agree with all that. At the same time, if you just changed the wording on these polls and made it about Biden, we just had, you know, all this talk about the non-committed or uncommitted voters in Michigan. Those numbers were much smaller than the voters for Nikki Haley. There is a lot of dissension in the ranks of the Republican Party, and when all you need is 5 or 10% of the swing vote to go the other way. The 40% of the party that is not all in for Trump is a big red flag.
Some of those people are going to sit out. How many people are going to sit out? We won't know until we see.
These are Republican primary voters. In Virginia, 40% of those Republican voters said they would not vote for Trump if he were.
If you live in a comfortable state where Joe Biden is a lock and there's no challenge whatsoever, vote your conscience. Vote Marianne Williamson. Vote fucking Krusty the Clown. It doesn't matter.
In November,
if you live in a purple state, if you live in a district where there's a real chance, there's a real fight there's a real horse race, I do encourage you to vote for Biden. You know, if only to give the progressive movement 4 more years to do something about these neoliberal corporatists. You know, so my response to that is vote strategically.
And look at the problems that Joe Biden is having. And then with a very small number of voters in some of these states, it can go either way.
Well, the voters who won't vote for him if convicted, the question is, are they going to vote for Joe Biden?
No, they're not.
You know, I don't necessarily see that happening.
And where's the get out the vote?
You know, they're not
P. Diddy?
Democrats. They're Republicans, and they don't like Joe Biden. And so the question for the Biden campaign is, what do you do about all of these trials? And as you were saying, who knows what's going to come to fruition, right? When? But how does the Biden campaign attack this? Because, you know, they're not going to get the
You're not going to get their vote. You need to get other voters.
How would they maybe get some of those?
Okay, how would they do it? They would do it with policy like the Voting Rights Act, like, you know, the student debt relief that isn't just total watered down nonsense. New legislation. He could legalize marijuana. You know, you do it with legislation. You do it. You know, why is this a mystery to these overpaid idiots? Politicians, if they want votes, they need to give us stuff.
Often how much you
right?
have to see of Donald
Trump. Is it rocket science? Am I crazy?
issues he has to have, how much he has to struggle with the law, he has to struggle with all these indictments for people to, disavow him. I think what we've seen is basically there is nothing that he could do that is going to really push away that core of support. And that core of support is very enthusiastic. They say in poll after poll, they like him. They want him back. And so the question here is you do not see this on the Democratic side at this point. You do not see that enthusiasm. You see a kind of, heavy sigh and okay, he's our guy and we're going to back him. And the other part is you're really not seeing the Biden push that democracy on the line is going to be a get out the vote thing.
No, right, everybody stand by. We have a lot more to assess. We're getting more poll numbers, exit poll numbers as well.
15 seconds of criticism for the neoliberals, guys. We just found it. Oh my God, that's like finding like a diamond in a cistern. No, look, we just found 15 whole seconds of criticism for the neoliberal strategy. Wow. No, it wasn't. No, of course it wasn't Wolf. It was the guest wearing the beautiful velvet coat. All right, that's all I can do. I got to get back to the family here. I got to get back to other shit. My prediction is that Nikki Haley is going to come from behind and sweep Super Tuesday, and the Democratic challenger Vermin Supreme is gonna upset us all with a big takeover against Biden. It's a smart move for him to put Kamala Harris on the campaign. That's why Wolf Blitzer has a name, because his name sounds cool. That man puts me in a coma just looking at him. Kyle Kulinski is definitely correct when he talks about these personalities from these mainstream media. Like, if they have to get their own audience without the power, the media power of these legacy media companies, like these people would be failing. If Wolf Blitzer had to just fire up his own YouTube channel, they have to be propped up, like we saw with Tucker Carlson. No one was buying that shit. He had to be propped up. And he was supposedly the most popular news guy in America. AK got the takes. Yeah, so no. No, obviously Donald Trump's going to win and Joe Biden's going to win, obviously. And once again, I would like to say that this was mainstream media. The failure of mainstream media here is their failure to talk about how the neoliberals, we learned nothing from Bernie. We learned nothing from Bernie and Hillary. The lesson from Hillary is that we shouldn't let the mainstream consensus, we shouldn't let the corporate consensus, we're listening to the corporate consensus too much. It's in our group. It's very hard to argue. We'll say it's not totally, because you could argue that Bernie would have lost against Trump. But there's a lot of good polling to show that Bernie would have been a much bigger contender. And also, we can also say that his strategy would have been better against Trump than Hillary's, try to get out the vote with the moderate Republicans strategy. So there was no lesson learned there, right? There was just no lesson learned from the Democrats. And like I said before, it's like they're on autopilot. Same strategy, same slop, underselling, setting expectations low. Where's the big policy proposal? Where's the big? I mean, we're going to get a State of the Union tomorrow. So maybe the State of the Union is going to have, some really sick ass stuff in there, right? Maybe we'll get a State of the Union that says, I'm going to do this for you and I'm going to do that for you. And this is how we're getting abortion rights back. And, people think I'm an old man. Well, you got another thing coming, I'm gonna have, you know, because he claims he's a lefty, he claims he's a progressive, so why not own it, right? So I'm gonna come out here with an extremely left, extremely progressive proposals. We're gonna hit these right wingers head on. I have a mandate, you know. If you give me that mandate, I'll do this, I'll do that. But do we honestly feel like Joe Biden is gonna give us that in the State of the Union? He's gonna talk about the danger to democracy. It's going to be a big fundraising, you know, it's going to, you know, filled with a lot of flowery language for, you know, great for a fundraising attempt. But will there really be like a get out the vote? You know, are we going to see a really, really aggressive get out the vote campaign from the neoliberals? Or are they just going to try to veer to the right and do the Hillary strategy some more and try to get some more of these moderate Republicans? That was the debate we were just watching on CNN, was like, well, you know, there are these people that maybe we could target them. It's like, no, we can't target these hardliners. We can't target these hardliners. We have to go after uncommitted voters. We have to go after non-voters, new voters. We're not gonna win convincing the Republicans to vote for Democrats. It's not gonna happen. Well, Gav Live, we are a democracy, and Donald Trump is proof of it. Only the American people could be stupid enough to vote for Donald Trump. So yes, no, we are a democracy. But we're about to cease to be, and you're about to, you know, once that happens, you'll see there's a difference. You'll be like, okay, yeah, I was being hyperbolic before. Yeah, I was just talking shit. Yeah, no, we legitimately don't have a democracy anymore. Trust me, you'll feel it. You'll know it. You think you don't have a choice right now? You think you don't have a choice right now, huh? Right. Wait until the corporate oligarchy gets to really get their claws into you, right? Like we saw Barack Obama flirt around with the idea of forcing you to buy healthcare insurance, right? So that's just the bottom of the barrel of the kind of shit that this oligarchy wants to do to us, right? The kind of exploitation Jeff Bezos wants to put on our backs. We're still, trust me, man, we're still a democracy, but we're just barely. And you'll know when we're no longer. Right? Oh, I know, Gab Live. Okay. Thank you, buddy. All right, everybody. Peace in that motherfucking Middle East. We'll see you tomorrow. We're going to do, you know, just another 2 hours of news. I'll follow up on the Super Tuesday here. We all know what the results are going to be. I don't need to stick around this whole time and do the whole thing. I mean, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I'd rather have a lobotomy with a nail gun than to sit 2 hours and hours of this let's pretend, you know, this let's pretend session that there's a horse race going on. So we're not going to do that. But I'll just follow up tomorrow. We'll let you know the results are, or I'll probably just forget and just continue on with my life because we all know what the results are going to be. Trump, Biden, we know that. It's a shame against democracy. Our democracy is definitely in danger. And yeah, no, it's on the cusp of being completely irrelevant, being completely destroyed. With that said, it's not totally destroyed yet. So make sure you get out there and vote. Don't listen to the haters and idiots that are trying to convince you not to vote. That's an incredibly stupid idea. And like I said before, you should vote strategically. If you are in a purple area, if you are in an area where your vote actually matters, where it could actually, you know, be the difference, then I do encourage you to, unfortunately, vote for Joe Biden. Peace in that motherfucking Middle East. Big props to everybody in the chat. Glory to the Ukrainian democracy. Let's not forget that 3-step process to create political change. Step 1, inform yourself. Step 2, join a political organization in your area. Progressive, liberal, lefty, I don't know, anarchist, communist. Start somewhere. Join it. Step 3, put in the work and don't be ashamed to be a political activist. Don't be a fucking shame to be a political activist. Own that shit. Become that shit. Create change. It's absolutely possible. Thank you so much.
Shut the fuck up, baby, give me the cash. in the stash or your niggas are meeting the nine.